What is up, everyone? Thanks for joining me today. So in today's video, we're going to be taking a look at my Smith Wesson M&P. The whole goal of today's video is to see just how much we can improve the trigger on here with literally 10 minutes. I've got a timer set for 10 minutes, and I want to see, if we can make any improvements with 10 minutes of our spare time. So what I've done is I went ahead and disassembled it and taped it off. Again, we want to keep this simple and easy, so instead of, taking out the whole trigger group and messing with all those springs, I just went ahead and taped it off, and we should be fine because we're doing a 10-minute job. We're not worried about every little nook and cranny. And we're pretty much going to focus on 3 areas. And we're just going to give it a couple of minutes. Again, we're fitting this in 10 minutes. This is not the factory trigger I've gotten here. I currently have the Apex Tactical. It's the duty carry. It's the polymer one. It's not the factory, hinge trigger. And I put it in there, and you know what? It's decent. It definitely does clean up the trigger pull in here. I would say in hindsight, it's probably worth it to spend the extra $50. And if you're going to go the route of the Apex and get the, if you're going for competition, get the competition one, because really this does leave a lot to be desired, especially for $120. But that's all right. We're gonna see with a Dremel and 10 minutes of our time if we can prove that any. Now, I know it's only going to be so good because I know there's like a 5-pound spring or something in there. So I know we're not going to drop it below 5 pounds because we're limited on the spring of our trigger. But we can clean it up. We can take out creep, and who knows? We might be able to take off some poundage there. There's about 1.5 pounds in addition to the spring, so it's possible we can take off some of that. But at the very least, it's 10 minutes of our time, and honestly, I'm just curious to see what happens. So this is a super simple task. Pretty much anybody who's got any basic gun knowledge should be able to do it, but if you don't feel comfortable, take it to a gunsmith. I just have a very fine ceramic stone here. You could use like 1000 grit sandpaper or something if you wanted, and then a Dremel and some buffing compound. And again, we're not doing anything crazy. We're not changing the geometry of anything. We're literally taking out imperfections. So you can't mess it up too much. But if you don't feel comfortable, take it to somebody else. So without further ado, we're going to go ahead and start the timer. We're going to see how this thing goes, and I'll get back with you guys later. Okay, we got 10 minutes on our timer, and we're going to go ahead and start it. Alright, there we go. We're in countdown. And again, we are on the timer, but I'm not going to rush anything here. I don't want to mess anything up. And again, it's hard to with the ceramic stone. It's super, super fine. This is what you typically use to like hone that edge on a knife. So, you can't, it's a very slow process. And we're just taking out high spots. So if you mess it up by doing what I'm doing right now, your trigger is probably unsafe to start with. And I'm not getting crazy with anything. Just taking off high marks, and it's going to be hard for you guys to see it. In the video. So you're just going to have to take my word for it. And the reason we're doing this is because the buffing compound's not really going to take off anything. It's just going to smooth it out. So I'm just spending a little bit time with this to do some of the heavy lifting. Okay, that's pretty good. I'm just gonna wipe everything down real good. I'm fully expecting a giant mess when I'm done with this. And again, someone could probably do a lot better than I'm doing. But we've got 10 minutes that we're working with, so now before this trigger was about 6 pounds, 6.5 pounds. And so anything better than 6.5, I'm gonna call that a success. So, you know, we're going for those marginal gains. Those marginal gains right now. We're not expecting much. Again, we know we're limited by the spring that we have in there. So, you know, again, anything better than the 6.5. And most of it's just going to be on the feel. You know, the poundage, I'm not really expecting to go down much. So most of it's going to be go ahead and clean that up later, but I want to make sure I get everything here. So we're not going to waste our time with cleaning it at the moment. I'm just going real light. And I've never done one of these on an M&P before, so I'm as curious as you guys to see if this makes a difference at all. You know, we're both going to be learning on this one. And again, this buffer's not removing any material, really. It's just polishing. So you guys should be totally fine. I really need like a microfiber cloth to clean that wheel off, but whatever, we're gonna go with what we got here. Okay, and that is time. So now that that's done, that's our 10 minutes. We're gonna go ahead and clean this thing up real good and throw it back on the scale and see just how much of a difference it made. Alright guys, so we went ahead and reassembled the pistol here. Still got a little bit of cleaning up to do on the external frame, but that's okay. Not a big deal. So what we did was we went ahead and wiped it down really good, and then I just hit it with a little Rem oil and reassembled it. And so now the moment of truth. Now I apologize, I did not get a video of us checking that trigger before we went ahead and taped it off and everything. But anyways, I have done a function test. She appears to be totally functional, no issues there. So now it's time to go ahead and just see what that trigger is made out of. So let's go ahead and reset it here, and we're going to go ahead and do 3 or 4 pulls on it, and just try to get a good baseline here. And so I'm going to go ahead and just line her up here and try to be as consistent as possible. And I'm just going to leave my finger here to get it started. Okay. Sorry, because the angle on here is a little tricky. Alright, there we go. And we'll go straight back. All right, so just about 5 3/4. So right off the bat, that's awesome because we were like 6.5 before. So we've already dropped 3/4 of a pound. That's awesome, guys, in literally 10 minutes. Results will vary depending on how many rounds and everything, but dang, 3/4 of a pound with 10 minutes of time. Let's go ahead and do this again. Do another. This thing is kind of difficult. It's kind of making it want to roll. All right, and boom. Again, just shy of 6. Let's go ahead and do it again. I'm trying to put it where I would normally index the trigger. Okay, that one's about 6. Go ahead and reset it. That one's just about 5.5. So that's awesome. Of course, you know, it's hard with this scale because everything wants to roll around, but I'm getting, let's say on the high side, like 5 3/4 pounds with literally 10 minutes of time and basic tools. That is absolutely freaking awesome, guys. I am super excited about that. And it just feels so much smoother. That is fantastic, guys. So, go ahead and try it. All I'm doing is basic polishing, guys. This is something anyone can do. Anyone who owns a firearm and is responsible with one can probably do this. But again, if you don't feel comfortable, take it down. But I'm really pleased with that. And that was with 10 minutes. I'm sure I could clean it up even more. Because I only hit the striker and the just a little trigger mech right there. I didn't even get into the sear or anything like that. So there you go, guys. Hope you enjoyed it, and I'll catch you on the next one.